We are going to have the chance for rain in between. Right now, 45 in Minneapolis. Go to Fargo. We're at 39. As you work your way, though, farther south, Green Bay still in the mid-60s. Chicago, 67 degrees, and that's down from the upper 60s. We've been coming down from the 70s in Des Moines. There's some real warmth holding on. So you really have to be pretty far north to find any of that more seasonable air. And that's where we have this storm track cutting through. And you can see there is still some rain out there. Most of it confined to upper Michigan at this point in time. Little bit of snow through the arrowhead of Minnesota towards the boundary waters as you get up and away from the lakeshore and elevation. That's where we find some of that activity. But this storm system behind it does drag some this wet weather into the Great Lakes as we head through Wednesday. So we are going to be talking about largely rain. You'll note, though, if you are near the I-94 corridor or even north of it in many locations across North Dakota and Minnesota, that's where you could have some of those snowflakes mixing in. Minneapolis, it's rain for you. Fargo, largely rain, I think, throughout your Wednesday. And Green Bay coming in at 40 degrees with some rainfall. Chicago, 60 degrees with that rain. We find this first storm system departing pretty quickly tonight. Lots of winds around the Great Lakes. You'll note that tonight, but otherwise quieting down. And you can find the next storm system getting going. Two parts to it, one here, one farther off towards the south. That's what generates a weak boundary here off towards the south that allows for some moisture to kick in. But the main storm system, there it is across Canada, and that continues to push things through. It also pushes the cooler air in, which means for the game Thursday night football, temperatures are going to be in the 40s, a little bit cooler at Soldier Field. Well, it's been a dry stretch
trend here over the next few days in places like Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the temperatures are going to be trying to challenge some records as the heat, the dry weather persists across the southern U.S.
And a big blob of green is on the map here for our midweek forecast. So some areas that may be missing the current storm system that's cruising through. Joining us, I'm Jeff Cornish.
And I'm Melissa Constanzer. You're going to talk about a stunner. I only wish I could have been there. I noticed this morning in central Pennsylvania, we had some of these clouds that could have been spectacular, but we didn't quite get this.
Yeah, this was amazing, and many of you across various parts of the Empire State saw a great sunrise, not just in the city of New York City, but also up into Rochester, a couple hundred miles away.
However, those winds might catch you off guard. They are still pretty blustery around the Great Lakes as that storm system departs in the northeast. 16-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Chicago, 15-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Minneapolis, gusts anywhere from 10 to 15 miles per hour, more than that. As we go through the next few hours, too, what we'll find is some of this cool air is going to get tugged on in. So Chicago, well, you're in the upper 60s or mid-60s. Des Moines, mid-60s for you. We will find that cool air trying to make a closer call to the I-80 corridor. Right now, though, not much in the way of moisture. That storm system is pushing into the northeast, and it's leaving some rain into the upper Michigan, parts of the tip of Michigan. But beyond that, most of us are dry. Like I said, some cool air sliding in on the backside of that storm system as it departs. But check out this one. This is one to the north, one to the south, and one riding along that southern boundary. So we're going to have some extra clouds in Omaha, Chicago. Look at the difference between the numbers. Omaha close to 70 degrees, Chicago mid-50s. Then we go into the 40s in Green Bay. Very sharp cutoff here where some of those numbers will be quite mild. By Wednesday, that southern low does develop and produce some rain, while the northern low tries to drag in some chilly air across the northern tier of the nation. Fargo, though, you're still at 46 with showers on Wednesday. It'll arrive later, some of that cool air. Chicago, 60 with some of those showers. Kansas City, much closer. So it really depends on where you are in the northeast. We talk about some of this snow that Kevin was talking about, and you can't find it here. I mean, 44, the coldest on the map in Portland. 63 still for no, because unless you're in some of the highest elevations of the Adirondacks or the Green and White Mountains, there's just not a lot of snow on the board. You have to be in far northern Maine to get in on the action. So for most, this storm system that's unfolding tonight is a quick bout of rain, and then it's out to sea as we head into tomorrow. Basically, Burlington, expect some more rain showers. Temperatures in the mid-40s for lows tonight. We go down to 50 in New York City and Columbus, coming down into the upper 50s. By the way, Washington, D.C. are farther off towards the west. You have to head to the western edges of Texas to get in on some of the rain. Plus, there's snow through New Mexico. A couple spots have picked up 3-4 inches already. Good for the ski resorts there, too, if we can get it in that region. But like I said, Saturday, it's confined to the coastline. So it's going to be that focus on the Gulf Coast of Texas, getting into Louisiana, that we want the rain, and we will be trying to get it. Houston, showers for you as you head through Saturday. New Orleans, temperatures, Veterans Day itself as we go through Saturday. We will be talking about that rain holding on to Houston. Most other places dealing with a cloudy setup. Places like Little Rock, we're still having the moisture flow streaming by, but we're not really getting the rainfall. It breaks up a little bit after Saturday. So if you look, Saturday morning, starting off with a new low trying to develop near the Gulf Coast, and that does swing in some veterans out there that have served us now and in the past, and hopefully again, very thankful for all of the work that you do. As we look into the Northeast, we have had some rain out there. Checking in on the radar, you can see some of those showers. A lot of that has been through the mid-Atlantic, so you had to be in about Virginia on north to deal with Virginia on south to deal with any of those showers that are holding on. So we have had at least some hints of wet weather, but if you're farther to the north, checking out the view here from Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, you might have a little snow on the ground. Things have stayed largely dry for the day, courtesy of EarthCam. And yes, we are looking pretty quiet at the moment with a bit of a breeze. The birds flying high. We're going to keep things dry into the weekend for a good chunk of the Northeast. Could there be a shower around the Great Lakes? It's a sprinkle at best. It's not a lot of wet weather. So the good news is that as we go into this evening, notice 8 p.m., a lot of that moisture is offshore. It moves further away. We dry things out. The only thing about this dry air as it comes in tomorrow, it's going to be a bit cooler. Yeah. So our Friday night, our lows go back into the 30s in Pittsburgh, 42 for New York City. Remember, this is what you're waking up. I'll use a few more sunrises like that in Destin. A little bit of pink on the clouds.
Absolutely beautiful.
Gulf of Mexico in front of you. All right. Well, Michelle and I are summer lovers, but we want to thank you for joining us, whether you're a fall, winter, spring lover, because we know the seasons are changing and there's a lot to embrace, even